Hello and welcome to the Nighthawk Racing F01-R03 Championship. I'm Luke Taylor, otherwise known as Midnight ISO, and I will be your host this evening and one of your co-commentators for this Gran Turismo 7 base championship. I am joined by motorsport enthusiast, racer and co-commentator, he may be Northern but don't hold it against him, Kirk Stancer. Hello Kirk.
I'm glad to be back, but going into our third round tonight, what was a fantastic race at Autopolis, as I have to say. That last lap overtake from Swizzy, crazy to see such great action on track. And again, looking forward to the race tonight at Spa. I'm expecting again another very interesting race. That's going to take the action right down to the wire again.
Yeah, agreed on that one. Okay, so here's the series rundown. We have an 8-race championship with 16 different race sessions, and tonight we have a sprint and a feature format. So there are 20 different drivers, 13 different manufacturers, 5 legendary grade 1 circuits and 3 classic tracks from the world of Gran Turismo. For round 3 we are the literally legendary racetrack of Spa Francorchamps, and I'm personally awaiting all the on-track action. The format for tonight for the event is the same as what we saw last week and in round 1. We have 3 official time sessions with qualifying up first, followed by our first racing session with a reverse grid sprint race. Then when the dust has barely settled, race 2 in the evening here at the Ardennes will get away. We will then get away with our feature race. Kirk, could you give us an overview on the session format?
Okay, taking it away. Tonight at about 8:30 UK time, we'll have a 10-minute qualifying session where whatever tyre you set your fastest lap on, you will have to start for the feature race. Which really opens up the strategy to whether you want to go softs, which we've seen wear out quite quickly, or mediums, where you'll be slower in the qualifying but we're able to run deeper into the race. That is followed by our sprint race, which is a 15-minute time session. It is reverse qualifying order, so maybe if you didn't qualify so good, you'll be able to claw some points back in the sprint race. Then onto that is our main event for the evening, which is our 33-lap feature race. This is from a grid start, so we could see a lot of drama kick off into La Source, or as we run up the Camel straight into La Source. Well, yeah, the comb, should I say. So in the feature race tonight, you have to use 2 sets of tyres. So it would be soft mediums, soft hards. As long as you use 2 different compounds, that is fine. Unless we have a little bit of spice from the rain, then that tyre rule goes out the window. A wet track is defined as the moisture bar being over a third full.
Sounds good to me, Kirk. Right, and we move on to the points. I mean, they're on screen at the moment, so it's nice and obvious for you. But qualifying top 3 get points. Both drivers who get the fastest lap in either race will get 2 points each, unless they are outside the top 10, in which case no one will get awarded that point. Sprint race starts at 20, goes down to 2 points in 14th, and the feature starts at 40, down to 4 points in 14th. Now to the drivers themselves. Kirk, I'll kick off with Big Crazy Bertie, I think. So, always great to see Bertie out on track, and especially so again tonight. Currently sitting in 5th on 60 points in the championship thanks to a quiet but points grabbing drives and simply raw consistency. Good to see him on track. Next we have Deadline, one of our super subs. Deadline is new to the wheel and now also has a new car with the RX Vision, hoping to turn around his luck with a good showing here at Spa, somewhere we know well and will aspire to get further up that scoreboard. Next one is our Fred. 9th on 56 points, making the most of his full-time drive. Building experience and looking for more personal bests. Let's see what Fred can extract from this AMG. Next we have our sim race dude, which I will bring up on the top here, so bear with me. There we go. Currently in 6th on 65 points, I believe it is. Sorry, just 5 points behind Big Crazy Bertie. That Assen looks fun to drive, especially in that bronze livery. Surely aiming for a seasonal personal best. That here might be the best opportunity so far for a podium and a big haul of points. Next, KD the Kai. What can be said about our Kai? Great showings in the expos and certainly doing himself justice in the opening 2 rounds. Kai is sitting second on 93 points thanks to regular podiums and a threat to that top spot. Next we have Koulios, looking to bounce back from an awkward race at Autopolis, which resulted in some penalties. More on that later. Falling from 3rd in the rankings to 8th, but we know the speed is there. Let's hope for that consistency to appear during both the race sessions tonight. Next up is Lee. At the moment, Lee is best of the rest after the podium placeholders, holding 63 points and looking to consolidate this season with some more points and battle a close chasing group of Bertie, Sim Race Dude and Koulios, all of whom are racing tonight. So, Kirk, over to your one next with McManley.
Manly, after a poor sprint race at High Speed Ring, but Manly managed to bounce back strongly last week at Autopolis, winning the sprint race, which was a fantastic drive, only about a second and a half, 2 seconds in front of Swizzy, and then also following it up with a very good feature race as well. Maybe we saw the hards last week not work too well for him, but he can't be disappointed with a 4th place finish, which will move him up, which has moved him up to 3rd in the standings, on 91 points, only 2 behind Kai. So that 2nd place is still up for grabs between him and Kai tonight. And on to Nick. Nick finished 12th in our feature race after 2 unfortunate DNFs. And he now and 13th in the sprint race again after 1 unfortunate DNF. This leaves him 17th in our championship on 11 points. He probably won't be so happy with what he's shown so far, but we know the pace is there, and tonight I'm sure he'll be looking at a top 10 finish. And if anyone can do it, he can pull it off. And then Pedro, after an unfortunate round at Autopolis, which saw him finish P8 in the sprint race, and then an unfortunate penalty which demoted him to 9th in our feature race. This has left him in 11th in our standings on 31 points. Again, Pedro will be looking again to bounce back this week at Spa. I know it's a track he likes a lot, so I'm hoping, and he will certainly be hoping for a top 5 finish tonight. And then on to Sarah. Sarah's back in the driving seat tonight. She'll be looking at putting a strong, consistent driving in both races to sneak into that top half of the grid and hopefully pass you, Luke, in the points standings.
Thank you very much.
And Stephen, after a P10 in the sprint race and a unfortunate disconnect in the feature race, hopefully you'll be hoping he can recover this week and have a strong round here at Spa today. He is currently 12th in our standings on 30 points. And what can I say about Swizzy that we don't already know? Swizzy is currently leading our championship on 125 points. He drove to a 2nd in the sprint race behind McManley and he drove a completely mental feature race, which featured a race-winning overtake on the final lap. Unfortunately, on Jabril to win. He'll be looking at doing more of the same this week. He'll definitely be targeting a podium in the sprint and a podium in the feature, but I'm pretty sure he dreams of being on the top spot in both our sprint and our feature race. But keep your eyes on him because there's only one way to find out. And then racing for the first time tonight, we have Ziggy. What can I say about Ziggy that everyone doesn't know about him? We know he is one of the most respectable drivers out there. Well, respectful drivers out there. And he'll always be eyeing up a move on the people in front of him. I'm sure he'll be eyeing up at least a top 6 tonight, and I know the pace is really there for him.
Yep, couldn't agree with you more. Couldn't agree with you more. Right, we're just going to go over some track facts. The drivers themselves are just waiting to go out and qualifying in 2 minutes' time. So we'll go over these track facts, and then we will get cracking. So, Spa-Francorchamps. It's a legendary circuit that all other circuits are measured against, but few compete for the sheer volume of breathtaking, high-speed corners and areas of historical moments that help make up so many series highlight reels. At the top of the list is the renowned Eau Rouge Raidillon complex at turns 2 and 3, which leads onto the Camel Straight. A complex both challenging and infamous across the decades and all formula of racing. The circuit itself is a largely 1970s redesign, featuring a clockwise 4.3 mile or 7 kilometre long track, making it a longer track than most modern tracks, by modern standards anyway, making for a longer lap time. Most of the corners in question are known by multiple names depending on which guide is shown. I will be using the traditional F1 track layout for description, but many of the corners carry multiple names, as I've said, which is part of the aura and of the circuit in my opinion. Spa is made famous for huge variety of formula action from F1, GT, DTM and many international and World Series motorsport categories. The track is certainly a huge fan and personal favourite, and is known for rapid changes in weather and requiring both a fine touch on the controls and a crystal ball to judge for the incoming changeable conditions, as rain can be present in several areas of the track, but not in others. The track and conditions will certainly provide a huge challenge here at Spa, and many will. It's going to give those drivers a good fight for the ability to stay on the track. I, for one, will never forget the history of this track, as many know, and myself, fellow F1 RST podcasters, adore this place, but we cannot ever forget that in recent history, the circuit has seen some amazing and horrifying instances. For example, in recent history in 1998, coming out of La Source, F1 saw their potentially biggest crash of all time, with Coulthard triggering a pile-up in the rain. We've also seen 2 recent motorsport losses of Hubert and Delano Van 't Hoff, only a few years apart. Spa is a haven of motorsport, but one to be respected and a place to remember for all their passions and dreams and achieve their own. Kirk, what are your thoughts on this track?
You have summed this track up quite well, Luke. For me personally, I find Spa is a track that is both a good qualifying track, as it is enjoyable to drive. The elevation change, the high speed corners that require true commitment to maximize the time out of everything. But then I also find it is a really good racetrack as well. There's always a place to overtake, either going down into La Source, coming up the Camel Straight into Le Com, or even coming up to the bus stop. You know, this is why the track has its legendary status, as it is a driver's circuit. It has everything that you need from a track. And don't forget, even that middle sector, if you're not on the ball, you can easily find yourself falling under pressure from either the car behind, or one or two cars behind. Um, I think we'll see a really good race today. I think lots of overtakes, um, and then hopefully, fingers crossed, changeable weather, because that always spices up a race. Um, I think, I think legendary track. You can't get any better than Spa. That's what I know. Last week I said I'm a big fan of Autopolis, but you cannot get better than Spa, Luke.
I would agree with you on that. Right, on that note, we're about to go across to qualifying. So, all cars should be now heading out on track for their 10-minute session. Let's see how this tricky and twisty track will push our F1 RC drivers and who will take the pole position for our second race of the season.
Who do you think is going to get pole, Luke?
Oh, I think that is to be discussed. Just wait for them to go out on track now. Okay, all drivers going out on track now. So, here we go. It's time for the qualifying session. I believe we are one driver short, but we will have to make do. So, but yes, Kirk, who's going to get that elusive pole position for this round? Money. Ooh, with the form at the moment, I don't think anyone will be betting against either KD the Kai or Swizzy. I mean, I think you have to be aware that they're in the field and they're always going to be likely to be right up there, aren't they?
Absolutely, I think you've nailed it spot on. I think Swizzy, my money's on Swizzy. Swizzy has been completely unstoppable in our first 2 rounds. Obviously, you don't like seeing it because you always want a close race at the front. But you know, I think Swizzy's speed, consistency, and just tyre management, tyre preservation, race strategy. I think right now he cannot be matched. I think for the other 2 positions, I think it could be quite close. I think Katie Kai is probably going to be under pressure from McManley, and yeah, McManley. Maybe you might see Pedro up there as well qualifying. You know, I think Swizzy has pole locked down. I think second and third is where we'll really see the true battle take place, Luke.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. I mean, there's a whole pack there. Pack of drivers which are of similar experience, similar speed, and it's going to be a heck of a showing, I think. So keep an eye on them, see what is going on. So I'm going to be keeping an eye on... well, one person that we haven't really mentioned yet is McManley, who has shown very, very well. He won the sprint last time out at Autopolis, so don't count him out either. So, yeah, there's a lot of drivers, but in that mid-pack, you're going to have Fred, you're going to have Ziggy, you're going to have Sarah, Pedro. To be fair, saying mid-pack is a bit of a disjustice, because they're only a couple of seconds off the top lot. So, we'll see what happens, and we'll go from there. One thing worthy of note is 2 drivers, Koulios and Stephen, are carrying penalties into this week for the accidents that we saw in Autopolis last week. They will not be qualifying today, and for the start of the sprint race, although they will technically be starting on pole, they will be moving out of the way on the pit straight to allow the rest of the pack through. Right, Kirk, should we go on a hot lap with KD the Kai? Take it away.
Absolutely, so coming down into the source, and again a bit of a power slide and exit. He obviously wouldn't want that. Coming down the run towards Eau Rouge. Well, yeah, Radion, shall I say? Radion. Oh, right.
The internet decided to drop ever so briefly there. We should be live again, Kirk.
No worries, yeah. As I say, Katie Kai picked up a penalty at Eau Rouge, caught a bit too much. You know, easily done. If you want to go on board with Swizzy. He's taking his first lap, yeah, coming into on. You know, you want to slow down, you want to a little bit wide, you kind of want to nip that inside curb, but I don't think it's going to be too mind that too much for the first flying lap. Coming down into the quick left right. Yeah, quite happy with that. You got to be careful on the exit of the second one. Too much throttle there, and you can really find yourself going out in towards gravel there, which he does expertly, as expected for Swizzy. Drops down 2 gears into the right of the first 7-0, and out, hopefully, a little lift, 702, and now the run up to the bus stop. You know, this should be all flat now. Maybe we could see a little lift from him. Obviously, this is his first lap, first sighter lap. You know, we really want to keep it pinned for the most amount of time gain. Really revving out the gears, yeah, completely flat, launch him on. And then he's got a spot his braking point to the final bus stop, about 130, 125 meters, a bit wide on the first apex. Clips the second apex, and now it's running straight up to a line. What time does he start off with? He sets a 17.1 loop.
Not too bad a start there from Swizzy. Not too bad a start. He goes in.